A very cold but pleasant good morning to you all. You join me this morning in the middle of Wales. The time is now about 7:30. I've been on the go since about 5:30. Now, I got up nice and early because I've come to a place called Lake Vyrnwy to get a sunrise photo. At least I hope I'm getting a sunrise photo. There's the lake over there. A very pleasant place. But as much as I would like to get a photo of the sunrise over that lake, and I think it would make a gorgeous photo, particularly with that tower over there, unfortunately, the sun is an inconsiderate git and is rising in that direction. However, not to fear, because I'm standing on the edge of a dam. A bit of a long way down. Now, it's 20 to 8 now. Sunrise is penciled to be at about 8 o'clock. I think it'll actually be slightly later than that anyway, given the fact that the sun's got to get up over those hills. But just in case I'm wrong and the sun makes an early appearance, better get my kit set up. Sometimes a photo is completely spontaneous. You know, you just happen to be going out somewhere, you decide you're going to take your camera, you might take some pictures, you might see something you want to snap, you might see nothing at all. Sometimes, however, you get an idea in your mind, the photo that you want, and then you need to work out how to make that photo happen. And that's what I want to do. See, I made a resolution to myself this year that I was going to kind of push myself more with the photography. I wanted to get out more. I wanted to be more active in my photo quests. But it's prompted me to plan out and hunt for a landscape photograph, a sunrise landscape. So, come on over to my computer and I will show you what I am planning. Right, so here I have the Met Office forecast. And the Met Office forecast says from about 8 o'clock, when it should still be dark, it's going to be clear, and then it will be clear all morning. So it seems the perfect weather for a sunrise photo. Now, I not only need to factor in what the weather's doing, i.e. am I going to be able to see the sun in order to be able to get a sunrise photo, I need to know what time the sun's going to be rising, so I know what time I need to be where I need to be. But then I also need to factor in what direction the sun's coming up from, and then where am I going to go. So, UK sunrise times is showing as 4 minutes past 8. That's the time that it's saying the sun's going to start to break up. Now, I obviously need to be, wherever I'm going, I need to be there before then with enough time to not only get there, but then also set up and be ready so that when the sun starts to rise, I'm good to go. But now, where am I going to go? My thinking is somewhere watery. So I was thinking lake, reservoir, that sort of thing. North Wales has a lot of reservoirs, has a lot of rolling hills landscapes, and is quite a rural place. So I was having a look around at some of these lakes, and one of them caught my eye, which is this one here, Lake Vyrnwy. Now, I've actually been to Lake Vyrnwy before, but it was years and years ago. I've pretty much set on this is where I'm going to be going tomorrow, but I want to show you the shot that I'm aiming for to see if I can get it right. Now, here is Lake Vyrnwy. Now, Lake Vyrnwy has this dam on the end of it that you can walk along. So that would have made a beautiful picture from the dam looking straight out over the lake. I know there's a water tower on the edge here, which would have made a beautiful shot, except for one slight problem, which is that the dam's here, the watering tower's there, that direction is north-northwest, neither use nor ornament to me. I know roughly that the sunrise is going to be in a southeasterly direction, which is going to be this way off the reservoir. Off the bottom of the dam, there's running this river here, the River Vyrnwy, which is running off in a kind of southeasterly direction. So then I have a look at this website, which is called sundirection.com. And it basically shows you on a map the kind of direction that the sun is going to be rising and setting, so you can get a bearing as to which way it's going to be relative to where you are in the world. Now it's showing this yellow line, which is sunrise direction, as being near enough looking straight down that river, which could make for an interesting picture. Because if I go back to Google Maps and I have a look at the 360 view from the dam, there is the River Vyrnwy. So from the dam, you have the river running straight off into the hills. So I'm now thinking tomorrow morning I'm going to get myself down to Lake Vyrnwy, set up around about here, and I think with the river flow there, the sun should be rising somewhere around about there, I hope. And I should get a very nice photo of the sun rising up over those hills with the dam drop and the river flowing. So, that's the planning. Now I've got to go and do it. The setup I've got the Zeiss 16-35 f4 setup at 16mm. Fitted onto the front of that, I've got the Nissi V5 Pro Square filter holder system, which I currently have to do a review on in the near future. And in that at the moment, I have a 0.9 soft grad filter just to try and take some of the edge off the sky to balance it up to the foreground. The thing that's concerning me about this exposure is the fact that usually with a sunrise photo, if you take it over a flat landscape, like I can see ahead behind you here, as the sun rises up, it obviously fills the flat landscape with light. Where I've got the problem with this is, I'm basically below the hill line looking up. So I want to take this exposure as the sun's peeking up over the top of the hills. But that means that the light's going to be firing kind of over the top of me into the lake behind me. It's not going to be lighting up this foreground particularly much, especially where these hills are rolling up. There's going to be a massive difference in exposure levels between that sky and that foreground. I know this foreground's probably not going to get a whole lot brighter as the sun comes up, but that sky is going to overexpose like nobody's business far too quickly. Ideally, what I want to do is get my exposure as dark as possible. The light keeps changing, I keep having to change my settings. Okay, so in the space of about 2 minutes, I've just changed my exposure from a 50th of a second to a 250th of a second. No doubt I'll change it again in a minute. Okay, note to self, for future reference, it's now 10 to 9, which means it's about 45 minutes after the official sunrise time that I researched. And the sun still hasn't broken up over those hills. That's how slow the sun travels. It's taken an hour to go from what would be eye line down there to that bit. So next time I want to capture a sunrise over a hill, I'm having a lie in. My filters keep fogging up and I don't know why. I mean, they're supposed to fog up when you transition from being in a cold place to go to a warm place. Last I checked, this wasn't warm. So it's taken a few hours of waiting around for this, but it looks like it's coming good. So the sun is coming up over that mountain. I think I was slightly off with the calculation. I had it as being inside the little dip in the top of the mountain. I think it actually might be straight over the top of the mountain by the looks of it, which is still going to be nice because I'm going to have obviously the river coming around the shot and heading straight up towards the to the sunrise over the mountain. So it should, in theory, look quite good. Obviously, theory and practice, especially with me, are two very different things. I came down here thinking this is the photo that I want. This was what I came down for, and to be fair, I still think it's going to be a nice photo. I'm still going to be happy with it. But the light this morning on that side was absolutely gorgeous. The colours were immense. But the problem was I didn't know how long it was going to take for the sun to rise, so I was kind of skeptical and temperamental of, do I go and take that photo, risk missing that photo or whatever? And as the sun started to rise up, I mean, yeah, it still looks nice and scenic, but the lights just completely flattened it. There's none of the colours, none of the depth that was there before, and I've missed the opportunity. Then the other thing that happened that kind of done me in a little bit was I brought my drone, because I thought, well, beautiful landscape, not an airport in sight, so drone shouldn't be a problem. So I got my drone out, I set it up over there, and I just flew it off over the lake. The drone was a little bit kind of shaky. It wasn't quite stable. It was kind of trying to fly off in its own directions. I don't think I calibrated it completely, so I brought it back down to recalibrate it and was just about to take it off again when the next minute I got a bloke who works for, I don't know, some trust around here come up and tell me that I can't actually fly drones within 50 meters of the water. When I did question it, and I was like, I thought it was 50 meters of people that you weren't allowed to fly, and he said that there's some rules or something that apparently, because some idiots have crashed drones in here before and polluted the water with batteries, so they've banned drones flying around. Which does beg the question, however, if you're not allowed a drone within 50 meters of the water's edge because it might fall in and the battery might poison the water, surely I'm not allowed a camera within 50 meters of the water. I shouldn't be allowed my phone within 50 meters of the water because I might drop them in accidentally. So, I don't know. Seems the persecution against drones continues. But anyway, on a more cheery note, the sun is now just peeking up over the hill, as you can see there. So, we're firing away. I've been playing around with this setup all bloody morning. I could not work out what the best way to go for it was. The settings I've gone for are f14, 1/25th shutter, ISO 100, which does look pretty underexposed, but that's actually intentional. I'm shooting at f14 because I want to try and get a bit of a starburst, although I'm not entirely sure if that's going to work because it looks like there's actually a bloody cloud on the horizon that's softening that shot. So the starburst might not work properly. But so that's it. Sun's up. I think my time here is finished. I'm not allowed to fly my drone, so that's a complete pisser. Hands are numb. I think it's high time I pack this up and headed back home.